Welcome to the Sisters Uncensored podcast, where we get into everything from childhood trauma to millennial adulting and all things in between.
We share crazy stories from the past and present to help us cope with the insanity that is our lives.
By sharing our perspectives, we hope to bring some relatability, laughter, and unsolicited advice that can help you survive the messiness of life along with us.
My name's Jessica Labita. I'm a millennial mom, wife, and marketing professional, and I am absolutely insane.
My name is Ashley Lanieve. I am a millennial stay-at-home mom, avid golfer, and too mouthy for my own good.
We are real sisters, and this is Sisters Uncensored. Take this trip with us. Today, we're going to talk about bodily injuries.
Yay.
All of the wonderful bodily injuries we've experienced over the course of our life. And there are a lot of good ones, especially for you, because you're an accident waiting to happen.
That's not wrong.
I know. Danger zone.
Not wrong. I don't know. I'm not like klutzy.
No.
It's like freak accidents.
It's like life or death insanity with you.
Okay, so it's like, to give some perspective, I'm the kind of person that, like, if I get hurt, it's not like, oh no, like say I go skiing, right?
Yeah.
If I get hurt, it's not like, oh no, she broke her arm. It's like,
Right.
oh no, that arm's gonna have to come off.
Right. She got impaled in the face by a ski pole.
Exactly. It's true. I don't know what that is. I feel like, I don't know, but I don't die. I'm like,
No, you're like a cat. You have like
know.
17 lives.
kind of weird.
So let's start by talking about like stuff that happened first when we were like younger, the not so serious stuff. And then we can get into your like, because you had a good run there for like, I don't even know, maybe 2 years where like we almost lost you a couple times.
It's okay. These things happen.
You're still
It's
here,
totally
though.
fine.
I have to say, like, as a kid, I managed to get through life, knock on wood, so far, with like without anything too serious.
No pressure while I drive home today.
I know. Sorry. Please don't kill me.
I'm a better driver than you, so it's okay.
This is true. I think I only broke my nose like as a kid, and we told that story when we did our like neighborhood kids episodes where my friend Garrett, who was young with me, we were like fighting
the
a
pricker
bush,
bush,
and he came back with a ski pole, cracked me in the nose, and my nose broke. But like I never really broke any bones or anything growing up. I never really had like any serious injuries at all.
Really?
No, nothing crazy. That was like the extent of it. I guess I wasn't really much of a risk taker in my youth.
Okay.
But I know like Mark used to get hurt all the time.
Accidental.
Yeah, so I am responsible for one of those.
Okay, wait, let's start with the
Injuries.
first one.
Okay, so the first one happened at
He was
Aunt.
little.
He was like 2. It happened at Aunt Morphine's hair salon.
He was older than 2.
I think he was like 2 the first time.
Really?
Yeah, he was little, 2.5 maybe.
Okay.
But she had in her salon, she had like a really heavy bathroom door.
Right.
And he and I think you or
No,
Lindsay. Yeah, he and Lindsay went to go to the bathroom together, and he put his hand. I guess when she like opened the door, he put his hand like on the hinge side.
He was looking for the light switch, and like when he opened the door pushed inwards, and for some reason in his brain he thought the light switch was on like the hinge side of the door.
Inside.
So he went to go and turn on the light, and Lindsay was closing the door, and he had his finger in the hinge of the door, and it cut the tip right off.
Yeah, his little pinky finger.
Yeah.
The whole like top of his finger came off.
Yeah, like the whole tip. And Mom had to put it on ice, and like I remember her rushing with his like holding it like this
Yes.
and being like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, where's the tip? We got to put it on ice.
This was like a traumatic thing when we were children.
remember
We
it
were all
vividly.
there, and I remember it. Like he was bleeding everywhere.
Yep.
They had to find the top of his finger and
Yep.
like take it and put it
They put
on
it, I think, like in a cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they took him to the hospital and they actually reattached the top of his finger.
Unbelievable that happened. Oh, that poor kid. And he was so little. He just didn't, I don't know. He just stuck his finger in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Anyway.
So another time Mark lost a finger.
So this is the weird thing about having siblings. Like sometimes you can say you've lost multiple fingertips on multiple occasions. This is the weird thing about having siblings.
So this one was my fault. And
I remember
it was actually
this.
both of our faults. So we were homesick, and Mom and Dad had a Nordic track. Like, you remember the ski machine?
Oh, everybody remembers
Yeah.
the Nordic track, right?
And so they had the Nordic track, but they had it like set up at the foot of their bed. And Mark and I were both homesick with some sort of something.
All right, wait. So for anybody who doesn't know what a Nordic track is, we need to explain, okay? Like, first of all, it's like the most embarrassing piece of workout equipment a person could own. It's the truth.
It's true.
It was like two big boards that like
yeah, they like moved.
you put your feet in these like little
like kind of fake skiing.
yeah,
Right?
And then they had a band.
Yeah,
Like-
that was basically just on like a pulley that you just moved your
Yeah.
arms. It didn't really, I can't imagine it did anything.
That was such a scam. I
I-
can't believe out of all the gym equipment they would ever possibly buy. It's not like they were gym rats. You know what I mean? Like they bought this thing and it was set up in their living room and it
No, it was in their bedroom.
or in their bedroom. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. And like the way it's set up was like you could pull up the top that held the pulley
Yep.
and lock it in place. But for easy storage, you could pull out a pin and put it down.
Yes.
Like the stick that held the pulley so that you could, I don't know, slide it
Slide
under
under
a
a
bed.
bed, yeah, or
the
move
thing
it
was
under the
gigantic.
closet,
It wasn't
yeah.
fitting under any beds. That
No.
was ridiculous.
No.
But it was pushed up into position
Yes.
in
Dad
workout
Dad
position.
must have been working out hard.
that thing.
I can't imagine Mom was on that thing, so it definitely had
We'll
to be
post
Dad.
a
Mom
picture
had
of
no
a
reason
Nordic
to work out
track.
ever anyway.
Okay.
She was always so fit. Like
She was always-
It was definitely Dad.
She was like 115 pounds
Not
pregnant. That
even.
woman.
Yeah.
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
Literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the Nordic
Okay,
track.
so the Nordic track is at the foot of the bed in the upright position.
Ready
Dad
for
must have
working
just
out.
had a pretty rough 1980s
Working up a good
workout.
sweat.
I wonder if he was wearing like a headband and like
Yeah, right. Do you think he even used that?
I
I
don't
never saw anyone use it. Okay, like literally.
I don't remember
Waste
anyone
of
ever
money,
using it.
Waste of space.
I wonder if like someone gave it to them or if they actually bought it.
I wonder if when they got rid of it, they're like, we have so much more room for activities. It's the dumbest piece of workout equipment they could buy.
All right. So the Nordic track is up at the foot of the bed. Mark and I are homesick, and we're trying to watch TV, but the TV is on the far side of the room
On a dresser.
on a dresser. And so when we're little, laying in the bed, and the Nordic track is like this, we can't see the TV because the Nordic track is blocking the TV, and we wanted to watch TV sick in Mom and Dad's bed. So Mark and I decide we're going to collapse the Nordic track
Bring it
ourselves
down.
together.
Yep.
We're going to do this.
There's a pin that you pull out.
No, so it was like,
There's a pin that you pull out.
listen, remember like I mean they have it now, like pieces of furniture. It's like I call it the vacuum button. It's like a little metal button that you push in and then you can like pop stuff out, like if you were to
Yeah,
connect
yeah.
like a pole together. It was that.
Oh.
It was those. So Mark was trying to push the thing in to collapse it, but we weren't strong enough to push the button and pull the thing down at the same time. So
Very complex
we
piece
had
of equipment.
Right. So we had this genius idea that Mark would push the button in and I would fold the thing down because we were tag teaming to try to get this thing out of the way. Well, Mark's fingers were so little. He was probably about 7 when this happened.
It was little, yeah.
I was probably about 12,
Yeah.
11.
11.
He puts his fingers in the thing. His little finger goes into the hole as I push the bar down and
Guillotine off his fingertip. Literally. Then you had to like get it out. Like,
of the hole.
of the hole, pull out the tip,
Oh, so gross.
not the good way.
And I literally, I'm like, not again.
oh my god.
This time it was his pointer finger.
It was a pointer finger, that's right.
So I go running downstairs because Dad was working from home, and I'm like, I cut off Mark's finger again. And Grandpa was down there, and he was working, and he was like, what? They come running upstairs. We're trying to find the top of the finger again. Long story short, it got guillotined off and was not salvageable this time. So
no, they put it back on.
they couldn't put it back on this time.
He's
so
not missing a fingertip.
it was only like a little bit, but if you ask him to compare his fingers side by side,
Shut up.
one of them is shorter.
Shut
Swear to
up.
God. Mm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that they fixed him up and everything, but it was so like it wasn't a clean cut with the way it came off this time. Like the first time it was like a clean cut.
Jesus.
This time it was mangled like it was in a cheese grater.
Oh my God. You know what? I'll say
Could
this.
not
If
put it
Mark was
back
going to lose
together.
the tip of any, like, kind of an appendage, it should honestly be one of his toes, because his toes are like a fucking hand.
Oh, they're so
His toes are so long. It's creepy. We were
He has,
just
like,
talking about
finger
this.
toes.
They're so long. And he looks like he's been wearing like ladies' Louboutins for like 4 years straight. His feet are so narrow. We were just talking about this up at Dad's. I was just up there for 10 days.
Making fun of his feet.
I was like, ew, what
make
is
fun of his
going
feet all the
on?
time. I've literally like compared my finger to his toe, and his toe is bigger than my pointer finger.
Well, next time you decide to cut off the tip of something, make it a toe, not a finger. That was really bad.
Yeah, he was.
But it was a full-blown guillotine.
It chopped his finger right off. So, needless to say, we did not get to watch television because this whole other ordeal happened. Because, God forbid, we could watch TV in our house. We had to go take Mark to the hospital, get cut off a finger again.
Way to ruin it for everybody, Mark.
Way to ruin a sick day. Yeah. So his sick day turned into a really sick day.
Oh, that sucks. So wait, I have a good one about Lindsay, actually. Do you remember Lindsay getting stitches in her chin?
Oh, yeah,
She
yeah.
got stitches in her chin twice, by the way.
Oh, okay. I only remember one time.
Because one time was when we were on vacation in Cape Mayish.
Ish.
Okay. So this is the Sister Son podcast dictionary, just so you guys know what Cape Mayish is. When we would go on vacation as kids, we'd go down with like our church and all these families and everything like that. We'd all stay at this same like motel place. And our parents always told us we were going to Cape May. So we're like, okay, cool. But like there was never a beach. Like we weren't at the shore. It was like inland Cape May. And
It was inland Wildwood. It was Rio Grande.
it was called the Rio Grande.
That's the name of the town.
Well, we thought it was like Cape May. Like,
Yeah, that's what they
it's
used to
in
tell
Cape
us.
May
We're going to
County,
Cape May.
I
We're going to
guess.
Cape May.
Yeah, but it wasn't like real Cape May. So we
No.
call it Cape May-ish.
Yes.
Because it's Cape May-ish. Anyway, so we were down there, and there's a ton of other kids from church who were down there who would go on this trip too. And one kid who actually grew up in our neighborhood, he was one of the neighborhood kids, Kyle. We love you, Kyle Brown. Anyway, shout out. He was walking around with a bunch of tools and like telling everybody he was going to like fix their bikes. And like we were young.
Okay.
I was probably 8. Lindsay was maybe 9.5, turning 10 that summer.
Okay.
And he was going around like, all I remember was him with a socket wrench. So I didn't know what he was doing, but he was fixing everybody's bikes. We didn't even know our bikes were broken. They probably weren't. I think the bikes were actually fine. Anyway, Lindsay and I then went to go ride our bikes with Mark over to this candy store, Men's.
Yep.
And it was right by the hotel, or the motel. It wasn't a hotel.
No. It was like little cabins.
It was-
I slept in the van. Down by the river.
Just so you know, the van she's referring to is like one of those vans that used to have the captain's chairs, and the back seat used to turn into a bed. It had a TV in it.
He had a Nintendo. It
That was so funny.
was like camping.
Oh my God, the van. We used to fight over the bed in the back.
Yes.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's weird.
Because we couldn't all fit in the hotel. There was
couldn't.
too many of us.
There was way too many. Oh my God. But anyway, when Lindsay...
Ghetto ass vacations.
It was so fucking ratchet. Like when I think about it now, like, oh my God, what were they thinking?
I
Like,
just drove by there the other day because I was down that way, and the pool's not even there anymore. It's just like a flat land of grass where the pool used to be. That was like the best part of the whole
that
place.
was the best
pool.
part. And it had a slide.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
We have a good story about
I actually
that
have a
pool.
photo I'll show you.
We have a good story about that. We'll have to save that for another time. Maybe we'll do a vacations episode where we can talk about different things that happen on vacation.
Okay.
Anyway, so Lindsay and I, or Lindsay, Mark, and I all decide we're going to now, after Kyle has fixed Lindsay's bike, all of our bikes for that matter, every kid's bike that would let him with a socket wrench. And we start riding over to the candy store. We go to Men's, and we're like driving through the parking lot on our bikes. And the next thing I know, Lindsay's front tire just comes completely off her bike. She goes down and over the handlebars and busted her chin so bad. I felt so bad for her. And thank God Pastor Tom was there. Oh my God, he was such a good man. He still is. But whatever, he was there and he saw the whole thing go down, and he was like holding Lindsay's chin and trying to get her back and everything like that. And all I was thinking to myself is that kid worked on a lot of bikes. A lot.
Who's going down next?
Bikes. Like I was afraid to. It was like not far ride.
Do you think he like took her tire off on
I
accident and
think
just
he-
didn't realize
yeah.
like he's just playing and like
he was just? I think he was trying to help, but he didn't know what he was doing and loosened the nuts
Oh my
for the
God.
tire. But her tire, I just remember watching it go flying and being like, "What the?" And then Lindsay going down.
Did she had to get stitches?
I think she had to get stitches. She
don't
busted
remember
her
this.
chin. I felt so bad for her. It was so bad. Watching her go over the front. Oh, man, it sucked.
That's the second time because she did that in our neighborhood once, riding with a bunch of dolls in her bike, and in the basket in the front, she flipped over the handlebars because she had too much stuff in her hand. All her babies.
I don't remember that.
Her and Lynn.
I must have been little. Her and Lynn?
Yeah, and
Get out.
she split her chin open then too.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Poor Lindsay.
she really takes it on the chin, that girl. No pun intended.
Oh my God. So speaking of riding bikes, let's talk about some of your bodily injuries because I think that's where it started.
Riding a bike? Oh, yeah. Well, technically. I mean, I don't know if you call it a bike. So I was on an ATV. I was on a four-wheeler. Now, anybody who knows, if you grow up in West Milford, most likely you've ridden quads and dirt bikes and snowmobiles and everything like that.
Yep.
It's the woods. There's nothing else to do. So whatever. We grew up doing that. Dad used to ride dirt bikes all the time
Yeah.
too.
We
Like-
had all kinds of quads and dirt bikes growing up.
So Mark got a quad when he was, I don't know, like 10.
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
Yep.
we would take it all around in the snow and everything like that. Anyway, one summer, I'm home. Dad's at work. The whole house is empty. I'm home with a bunch of my friends. We're all eating pizza and doing God knows what. And one of our friends from a neighborhood on the other side of the highway rode over, and we were all doing loops on his quad. Mm-hmm. Well, I went to go and get off the quad. It's the middle of July. I was hot and sweaty, and it was a twist throttle.
Didn't we have the same quad, but ours
A
was a
thumb
thumb throttle?
throttle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one was a twist throttle that you
Yeah.
were riding.
Yep.
Who was someone riding our quad?
No.
It was just you were just on this kid's quad.
Yeah, he just came over with his quad. That's
Okay.
how we got to our house. So
Got
I
it.
was like, okay,
Oh,
cool.
right.
So I take it for a couple of laps, and then I go to get off of it, and my palms must have been sweaty. And then when I went to like go and pull myself off, my hand stuck to the twist throttle, and it went full throttle from a dead stop straight into the air. And I ended up, your immediate reaction is to tense up, so you just grab and hold on for dear life. I ended up hitting this branch. It didn't like impale me. It hit this way, like against me, but I was so small and it hit so hard that it literally pushed all of my insides against my spine and just severed them all in half.
Yep.
So it was like, I remember hitting the ground and my friends being like, we should call 911. Do you want us to call 911? And I wanted to say no. And for some reason, I rolled over and said yes. I swear it was an angel because that was not me. It's not what I wanted to say.
No.
I thought Dad would kill me if there was nothing wrong.
I never realized that's how it happened. Like, I don't think I've ever actually heard you tell this story yourself, to be honest with you. I've heard this story 100 times from our parents. I've probably told it myself 100 times, but to actually hear you tell it is like, whoa.
So they end up calling 911. I started throwing up, like, I don't even know what, but my stomach just hurt. I was in the fetal position. They, whatever, they call 911. So the ambulance comes. I remember they were pissed off about not having me in a neck brace because I refused, because I was literally like, I can't let go of my stomach. And they got me into the ambulance to take me over to medevac me by the local elementary school. And by the time they got me there, my lung had collapsed. And I remember like being in the back of it and being like trying to get somebody's attention that I couldn't breathe. And I was just getting tired and I just went to sleep. And the next thing I know,
shit.
like I flatlined and they realized it when they got me to the helicopter. So they ended up bringing me back. And then I guess it happened again, like where they needed to do something more sustainable. So they put a chest tube in on the helicopter and took me to Morristown Trauma. And then the next thing I know,
God.
I wake up in an MRI,
Oh, God.
naked.
My God.
And I only woke up because I heard, I guess there's speakers in there, and I didn't know. I didn't even know where I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but I heard like a woman's voice. And I was like shaking my head like this. And I just remember hearing, Ashley, Ashley, honey, stop shaking your head, okay? And all I thought was, God's a woman? I thought I was dead. Hand to God. I thought I was in a casket. I was like, God's a chick. Who would have thought? And then I just passed back out. And then the next thing I know, I woke up. By the time I came to, it was like 3 days before I left the hospital. But I was in ICU for almost 2 weeks. And then they did emergency surgery. That's why. Because after the MRI, they were like, there's so much internal bleeding and she's so small we can't even see what the problem is.
Yeah.
So they had to go in blind and just clean it up. And
Yep.
now I have a wicked awesome scar down my abdomen, and I know scars are cool. So
Yeah. So ultimately, I think you had a collapsed lung and you severed your duodenum.
yep.
Right?
So they had to take out a portion of my intestines, and they had to do a bypass for my duodenum.
What's so crazy about this is that it was so serious. Like, mom and dad thought you were going to die. Like, it was that bad. And never once, like, alluded to the rest of us how, like, severe and serious this was. So, like,
Yeah.
all we knew was, like, Ashley got in a quad accident. She's in the hospital. She's going to be okay. And that was it.
That's what they told you guys?
Mm-hmm. I had no, like, until years later when, like, they actually, like, told us what really happened and how extensive your injuries were. Like, I had
Really?
no idea it was as bad as it was.
Interesting. Probably why I don't recall seeing you at the hospital visiting.
Right. They didn't let us come, I don't think.
No, we celebrated Lindsay's birthday when I got out of ICU.
Oh.
Yeah, just saying. Huh. But good times. I'm glad I was a priority.
I'm sorry. I
No
didn't
big
know
deal.
you were dying.
You piece of shit. Just kidding.
Crazy story, though.
That was messed up.
I'm glad you made it.
I know, me too. Hey.
I'd be sad about you.
I'm back, bitches.
Yeah. Okay, so then that was your first life, and then your second life was the fire?
A fire. Yeah. The fire. Okay.
There's so many stories.
So when I was in high school, I would get out of class, or not class, I would get out of high school and I'd go home and I'd change and then I'd go work at the pharma company doing data entry at night. I had to do it for like 4 hours. It was the most fucking boring job on the planet. I honestly would fall asleep, like inputting information from doctor's cards, and literally I fell asleep many a times where I was like, I don't even know what I wrote. Like, we're just gonna get on to the next one.
Like drool on the keyboard.
Whatever, man. Who knows? But so I only had like half an hour to like change real quick, make something to eat, and get out the door so I can get back down to Lincoln Park. So I got home from school and I went to heat up like a pot with like a little bit of oil in it, like I don't know, maybe 2 inches of water, or not water, oil. And I was gonna just fry some chicken in it, and then like, because it takes no time with these like pre-cooked things, but I wanted it to be crispy. So I put the pot on the stove and turn on the heat. And this is landline time, okay? Like,
Yep.
for people who don't know what that is. I had to go to my room because I heard my landline ringing. I'm like, who the hell's calling my landline?
Right.
So I went over to answer it, and it was a solicitor. It was like stupid. It was nobody. So I ended up just hanging up. And as I'm walking back to the kitchen, I hear a beeping. And I'm like, it sounded like the microwave. I'm like, who else is home? Nobody's ever home during this time of day. Well, it wasn't the microwave. It was the fire detectors going off. By the time I got to the den, which was next to our kitchen, there was black smoke everywhere. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I go into the kitchen. The cabinets are on fire.
Oh, shit.
I mean, like, everything is on fire. I couldn't believe it. I was gone for no time.
How did it start?
It just heated up fast. It must have just been
Was
like,
it a gas stove? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So there was a flame.
Yeah, there was a flame.
And did you put anything in the oil? Or
Just the oil.
so there was nothing even in the pot other
Nope.
than the oil. Oh,
Just
no
oil.
shit.
So we had a back door, right? And first I looked for the fire extinguisher. And mind you, I should let everybody know. I know, like, when you're a little kid, they teach you to stop, drop, and roll. That is the last thing that you are thinking about when you are in a fire. I can tell you firsthand. It never even occurred to me to stop, drop, and roll. I was like, this is like ridiculous. I got to put this out. I'm a hero. So I'm like, okay.
Stop, drop, and roll is for when you're on fire.
No, it's for smoke.
No, it's for when you're on
Well,
fire.
that too, but there's smoke because you're supposed to drop because the smoke is also at the top. What are you talking about?
All right, keep going.
Anyway, one way or the other, it doesn't apply. Okay, I promise you. That is the worst piece of advice to ever give anybody. So anyway, I go to look for the fire extinguisher. I can't find it. This was like when Lucy had just moved in and like it was moved. And I was
Everything
like,
is rearranged.
Where the fuck is everything?
Guys want chicken shish kebabs?
Yeah, you want chicken shish kebabs for dinner tonight? Anyway, so I can't find it, and I realized like everything that is lit up, the cabinets, are like, I mean, it was everywhere. This is like when they had like wallpaper and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, it's all coming from this pot. Like the flames are just coming out of this pot. So my thought process is get the pot out of the house to stop the house from burning to a crisp. I went to grab the pot and throw it out. We had a back door on the kitchen.
Yep.
So I went to just throw it out the back door. And I grabbed it, and when I threw it out the back door, the way I threw it was obviously not done properly. The oil came all the way back and went all the way up my arm. Like my entire arm caught on fire. It was in flames.
Did you want to stop, drop, and roll then? Or
No, I didn't. My immediate thing was, like that was my exact. I remember doing it, being like, because I saw flames. I don't know if you know this about like grease fires or anything kind of fire involving oil. It's not like water. It needs to go out. Like it
has to burn out.
It has to burn out, or like you have to put it out. So that's what I did. I just started
Oh my God.
putting it out. And then I was like, again, I held it again and screamed. And then I was like, fuck this. And I left. And I went to go, I had the house phone, which is now we had portables. So I had the house phone in my hand, and I went to go call anybody as I was walking to the
Because the
neighbor's
house is still on fire at this point.
Yeah, it was still on fire.
Okay.
Whatever.
You're like, fuck this, I'm out. Bye.
I was like, I'm done. I tried. I got the pot out. It doesn't matter.
My arm's on fire.
Burn that motherfucker, burn. I don't know what else to say. I'm done. So I went to go to the neighbor's house, and I must have been dialing so many numbers that all of a sudden I just heard somebody on the other end, and I'm like, who is this? And they're like, girl, this is 911. You called us. I was like, oh, my house is on fire and I'm on fire. I'm like,
Jesus.
What? And I was like, so I gave him the address, and you have to understand too, everything like in town was like volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's like a fire department just waiting
forever.
for like, oh, we got a call, let's go. It was like, we got to stop people in the middle of their work day to get over there. I felt like it took forever. So meanwhile, the kitchen's just burning away. It didn't even dawn on me that Spike was in the house. Dad's dog.
Shit.
Didn't even dawn on me. The police got there first, and I remember the police officer pulling up, and I was like just sitting there like, I'm like, what do I do? Like, he was just like, oh my goodness. And he could hear the dog barking inside, and he's like, is there a dog inside? And I'm like, what? I don't what? Like, really? Like, it didn't even, who the fuck cares? My arm's on fire. I was like, oh yeah, there's a dog inside. He's like, is it aggressive? It was like the tiniest little white terrier. I'm like, no, it's stupid. I'm like, I don't even know what else to say. It's like, oh my God. Whatever. So he goes inside, gets the dog out, and then he comes over to me, like he went to his car and got a big jug of water, and then the fire department started coming.
Yeah.
Like, so they showed up. They had to like break down walls, put it out, like the works. Oh, poor Dad. And we rented that house.
Yes, I remember.
That was like rented from a friend.
Yep, I remember.
And actually, Dad got a call at work from that because somebody, the guy who owned it, his son heard on the police scanner
That the address
that
was on
the
fire.
address was on fire. Yeah. So he called the police department and was like, hey, I just got a call from a friend saying that my house is on fire.
Yeah,
And they're
Dad
like,
didn't even know yet.
yeah, he didn't know. And they just said, there is a fire at the house, and there was a young girl there, and she was badly burned. And he's like, what? And the next thing you know, they're taking her to this hospital, blah, blah, blah. Lucy got from, because Dad called Lucy got from God knows where in West Milford all the way to Oak Ridge in like 20 minutes flat.
Yeah.
Like she like hauled ass, and she came with me to the hospital.
In the
But they
ambulance?
were just like pouring water on me.
Where did they take you right to St. Barnabas?
No, they took me to Chilton.
Okay.
And when I got to Chilton, they're like, we don't know how to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't our thing. And I'm like, Well, that seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like maybe we
Because
should.
I remember you were in St. Barnabas,
They just
which
gave
is
me-
like known for being like a burn hospital.
It's a really good, it has
It
a
has
really
like a
good
burn unit or something.
Well, it was like, I remember we got there and I didn't even get out of the ambulance. They literally like refused me. They like turned me away. They're like, here's an extra shot of morphine. You got to go to another hospital.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I had to go back like every day for weeks for that. That was really, it was
How long were you in there?
3rd degree burns all the way down. They sent me home same day.
Oh, okay.
It's a burn. I mean, it's not like it was my face or
Right,
something
right,
where I
right.
couldn't breathe.
Did you have to
or-
get like skin grafts or anything?
So I was scheduled to get skin grafts done, and the day before I went to go for another appointment because it wasn't healing. Like I don't know. I remember, you can ask Mom, because I've seen a lot of messed up things. Even when I was in the quad accident, when I got out of the hospital there, I had like drains and tubes and staples.
Yeah.
All literally like coming out of me when I was allowed to leave. That was bad. There was like a part in my stomach where there was like an open hole, but it doesn't matter either way. This was 100 times worse to look at. Like it was burnt down to like the muscle. Like it was so nasty, and it just pussed. It was so gross. But I had to go every day, and it wasn't healing. Like it wasn't scabbing or doing what it was supposed to do. But the day before I was supposed to have skin grafting, it miraculously started to heal.
Oh, thank
and they were like,
God.
"Oh my gosh, it's doing what we needed to do. We're going to postpone the skin grafting and see how it goes." And it turned out okay.
And your scarring even from that isn't terrible.
Well, they made me wear like a compression band on it because like most people won't notice it. I notice it because it's on me, but the worst of it is really here on my hand and my thumb.
Yep.
And it's because the compression thing that they put on, like you move this a lot, so it's not going to be tight there, but that's probably the worst of it. But it, surprisingly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And it was right before graduation, but like a week after prom. So thank God for that. But I remember going to graduation. I was like a mummy on this one arm. I'm like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
God. It was retarded.
Oh my God.
That was bad.
And then what? Like 2 months later, you totaled your car?
All right, so listen, that was a different thing. That was a sun glare. It wasn't my fault. I might not have been paying attention. That could be it too, if I'm really like being honest. I don't know. But you know what I do remember about that? So I get into this head-on collision crossing the highway. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, but I think I do remember the sun like being really bad and not being able to see. And it was rare that somebody was coming in the opposite direction. But long story short, light turns green. I go and we just crash right into each other, like head-on collision. So I remember Dad, he was right behind me.
Oh, geez.
And my thing is like whenever I hear, like, if I'm like in a car accident, I, for some reason, thanks to movies or TV or whatever, I just think the car is going to explode. So I need to get myself out. I'm just like, get out of the car. Like, that's it.
Not to mention that you had just been in a quad accident and a traumatic fire. So then this happened. So what did you like run around like
I
a
literally
crazy-
got out, yeah.
and
I was
ran?
like running in the middle of the street. And Dad, like, get me the fuck away from this thing. It's gonna blow. That's all I can think is it's gonna blow. I don't know. But Dad was like 2 cars behind me. So he got out, he picked me up, put me in his car. He's like, you don't have health insurance. As you were to refuse any ambulance. If something's wrong, we'll figure it out, but you have no health insurance. I'm like,
Oh, no.
okay, great.
Cool.
So I was sitting in his car, we're waiting for the cops to come. And I realized, I'm like, oh my God, my bowl is underneath the sink, or the seat.
Oh.
And I saw it had popped out. So I literally got out of the car and I go and I grab the bowl. And Dad's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, I just had to get back in the car, shove it under his seat. Finally, the cops come. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That was a close one.
Did you get hurt in that accident?
No, it was okay.
All right, well, that's good.
No.
I just remember like all 3 things. It felt like happened like consecutively, and it was like, okay, how many more lives does she have left?
I don't know. I was T-boned.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
like 26,
That was later, though.
27, yeah. That was later.
Yeah.
But some idiot ran a fucking stop sign and hit right at me. The car ended up on top of a stop sign on somebody's yard.
My like most serious injury I think ever was my elbow when
That was so funny. I remember
saw the
watching
scar.
that. I can see that scar.
and it's on this side too.
I remember you doing it. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, you tell that story.
So I don't remember exactly what happened, but I had a shitbag boyfriend at the time, and I want to say he was like at Dad's house, and we were fighting, and I basically was like, get out of here, like, go away. And he wasn't leaving, and we were arguing, and I was in the garage, like, trying to kick him out. And the garage had the 4 windows, like, glass windows at the top of the big garage door. And I remember, like, telling him to leave or whatever. And then he, like, came up to the window and was, like, shit-talking to me. And I just punched him, like, right through the glass and hit him right in the face. But, like, when I pulled my arm back through the window, that's when it got cut. Like, I didn't get cut going in. I got cut when I came
Pulled
out.
back. When you came out?
Yeah. And then I remember Dad was standing right there. He watched
he
the
was
whole
holding
thing
you back.
too. And there was, like, remember the washer and dryer was in the garage?
It was?
At the time, yeah.
I have no recollection of
Yeah,
that.
so there was, like, socks or something.
Probably so we didn't set the pilot like
We need a little more space for the dirty
We didn't have
laundry.
Luis in this house, people.
No.
Right?
But he grabbed, like, a sock out of the clean laundry and, like, was like, put this on. And I put this
He
sock
made you a sock turtle.
on my elbow. And we got in the car and went to the hospital. And it was the only time I've ever had, like, stitches.
Now, you know what I remember from that?
I don't know.
I
It was,
don't
like,
remember
a
it.
little bit of a blur. You know how, like,
I know, you kind of blacked out.
you have to. I mean, like, for me
You
to
blacked
punch
out.
someone, I've snapped.
So he was actually, like, passive aggressively
trying to get me to hit him.
not trying to get you to hit him, but he was pushing your buttons. Like, and I remember him doing it. And he was saying he was going to leave. And you were like, I don't want you to leave. You fucking stay here and argue it out or
Okay.
like whatever it is. And he was just being very passive aggressive, but like in an antagonistic kind of way, trying to make you look crazy, which probably you were, but still. It wasn't unprovoked. I'll say that.
No.
So the next thing I know is I saw you wind up. Dad was next to you. You clocked him in the face. Dad went to hold you back. And when you pulled back, that's when your arm went right
Yep.
through the window. And it was like,
He
oh,
deserved
shit.
it. He was a shitbag. That was the relationship of my life that helped me to realize that I never wanted to be in a relationship like that ever again. He was abusive and awful.
That was not good.
Yeah, he deserved it.
And you guys lived like fucking slums. Like,
Yeah.
that was weird.
It was a bad time.
Good times. Maybe we'll talk about, like, we'll do a whole episode on
Ex-boyfriend
exes.
house? Oh, God.
It's not that, like, there's a lot.
No.
But for those of you out there, just kidding.
Watch out. I really don't have any bad ones. He was the only bad one. And honestly, like, I don't regret any of it because it made me realize, like, what I want in life and that he was a total piece of shit. So,
Yeah, I get it.
you know?
Yeah. Hey, you live and you learn.
No regrets.
No regrets. Hype button. Good God, no regrets. His dad was actually at the accident for the quad because he was a police officer.
You're right.
And he was the one who called and was like, yo, you guys got to get to the trauma center like right away.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
He actually went to go and look for the quad. And when he found it, the back axle was bent like a horseshoe and my shoes were still on it.
Oh my God.
Hand to God. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Wow.
It was a hard hit.
You're lucky you're still alive.
Yeah. Am I? I don't know.
Well, compared to Mark's little finger injuries, you've
The finger guillotine?
You take the
Guillotine?
cake.
Is that what it is? Guillotine?
Guillotine. You take the cake of family injuries. By far, you win the gold medal.
For immediate family. I feel like Grandma has that one picture of hers just.
Oh yeah. I don't think she would like really look. I don't know.
What did she do to herself?
I don't know. She's old. That's why.
She had like a cast on this arm, her leg in a cast,
I think
a
she
neck
got in a
brace.
car accident or something.
what happened?
Yeah, it wasn't like anything. She's just old and brittle. You were like young and lively when all this stuff happened. Like, it's different.
Good
You
times.
still win the gold.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
So tell us about your childhood injuries. We'd love to hear if anyone else has 9 lives like Ashley, because she definitely does. Thank God.
Or has anybody also cut off multiple fingertips?
Or of their siblings.
Or if you had
How
a Nordic track, let us know.
Yes. Or how have you injured your siblings on
That's a good
accident?
one. Yeah. Tell us in the comments, guys.
Okay.
We'd love it. All right. This is a good episode. We'll
was fun.
talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.